Did you eat before you came here?
No.
No?
No.
Do you think about after the show we go get some food?
My mom was making dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would say yes.
Big shutdown. Big shutdown.
Very big
Because
shutdown.
I've been craving. Maybe I'll ask Phil depending on what time he gets off. But I've been craving going out, getting some brewski and some foodsie. You know what I'm saying?
Good Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe some like chicken wings and beer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds really, really good to me right now. I don't know. I've just been craving it the last few days to just go out and do that.
Just beer and chicken wings.
Yeah, man. Just hang out with the boys.
You got that. You got Pluckers. You got a lot of places.
A lot of places.
Yeah.
I don't really like Pluckers.
You don't like Pluckers?
I mean, it's fine.
I had once and I thought it was good.
It's fine. Not my favorite.
I don't know if you've gone there a lot because you work in that area. You've worked in that area twice over.
Yeah, you know, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what is a big deal, Connor?
What is a big deal?
This show.
Is it a big show? Is it?
No, we're very, very small. Nobody knows us. But this is the Two Penny Gamescast, and I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hi to the people, Connor.
Hey, guys.
And we, every week, come to you with the new news in video game industry. We bring you our 2 topics each, 2 pennies, if you will, and give you our 2 cents on them. And this week, Connor, we're going to do things a little different.
Yeah, no pennies
Again.
today. No penny. Yeah, we did it last week.
We did it different last week. We're going a little different this week as well. Instead of just bringing 2 topics each, really the only big news that happened this week is the Game Awards and then the release of Cyberpunk and all of that drama surrounding Cyberpunk.
Yes. We'll get to that a little bit later.
We've both been playing Cyberpunk.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that later in the show. We want to start with the Game Awards, though. We watched it together. Had a good old time.
Live viewing of the
Live
Game
viewing.
Awards.
You know, it was a good time. Connor, top level, what were your thoughts of this year's Game Awards?
It's kind of nothing really there for me, to be quite honest.
Really?
Not in terms of awards, partly because I didn't play like most of the games that came out this year.
Dumbass.
And also just because the reveals, even though there were some cool reveals there and some surprising reveals, none of them really spoke to me, except for maybe 3 of them, which I'm assuming we'll probably talk about it.
Oh, we don't talk about it.
Yeah, but I think there was a little bit too much of a focus. Again, I think they did this last time I watched it because I missed last year's. Bit too much on the celebrity aspect of things.
There was even more this year than last year.
And so some like Tom Holland, for example, we thought he was going to have some bigger part.
I would have guessed a Uncharted movie trailer was a shoe-in. So much so that I didn't even put it on my predictions because I was like, of course, why else would he be there?
Yeah, I mean, why was he
Nothing.
there?
Nothing. Just for like some slick banter,
yes.
I guess, or whatever. He was there.
Yeah.
And
then they had Christopher Nolan give out Game of the Year award, which is
weird,
strange.
Would have done the Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
I'll say top level for me. I really enjoyed this year's Game Awards. I think it's up there with one of the best years we've had. Did I love all the announcements and all the trailers? No, not necessarily. But I did think on a production level that it was just nailed it. Nailed it.
In terms of production.
Little to no lag. There was no awkwardness with some of the contestants being on live Zoom calls.
Actually, yeah, that never had really a problem.
Almost no technical difficulties. They fucking nailed it. I thought whatever soundstage Jeff Keighley was on was really cool and dynamic, and he played around with what he had. And yeah, it was a good time. What music was there was good.
I was one of the least impressed with the music this year. I think that was the weakest year.
This has been one of my in terms of the things they showed. I think they did all like the best like stuff in the pre-show because you missed the pre-show.
I did, yeah.
But like they did like some Persona 5 music in it and stuff. So like I think all the good stuff was in there, and then they were just cutting from game to game to game back to awards. A couple of those, and then games, and then some advertisements or whatever. I will say in terms of focus, this was the best Game Awards. There was no like cut to some random Doritos or Mountain Dew or even like a Schick Hydro Man like nonsense.
Well, I missed that part. I wish he was there.
Yeah, nobody likes that. Okay. Nobody likes it, Connor.
Hideo Kojima liked it. He took a picture with him. He was a fan.
I don't care what Kojima was a fan of. There were commercials. Stuff for
you have to.
New computers and processors and Fortnite.
Which was the worst part of the award show. They spent like I get why, but it was 8 minutes of Fortnite stuff. Like,
There's a lot of Fortnite.
I remember that being just... And at one point, I like, okay, Master Chief, the Walking Dead characters. But after a while, I was like, wait, why are you still talking about it? It seems like you didn't have anything to say about it. But
I thought
they
it was
did.
Fine. But yeah, overall, I was happy with the Game Awards this year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they, for the most part, put on a really, really good show. They, I think, represented... In terms of nominations, I think this year was really well represented.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
In the wide variety of games that we saw. I do think, however, winning was a little one-sided.
Very one-sided. Unfairly so, in my opinion.
Disagree.
I mean, obviously, we've had the disagreement on Last
Well,
of Us.
I think
too.
you're incapable of separating your personal opinion from what the general consensus is.
You see, I would say that, but then you had them winning things like Best Action Adventure Game.
We're talking Last of Us 2. By
yes,
the way.
Last of Us
2 swept.
I think everyone kind of knew that, after it. Took place.
Action Adventure is the one award that I would have given to something else.
And then I thought it was weird that accessibility, like when I saw the award and I voted for it, I was like, yeah, Last of Us deserves to win. But then I saw the other games that were nominated and how they showcased them, and it seemed like they didn't really do anything all that special. Like I noticed,
no, they were doing crazy stuff
in terms of accessibility. It didn't
like auto aim and
but it really seemed like the award was like, okay, we're going to make this award because Last of Us 2 was coming out this year.
I mean,
and
there were some decent games, but Last of Us just took it to another level.
But I think it's just kind of convenient that they now all of a sudden decided.
Well, the conversation has been trending this way anyway with accessibility in video games. I mean, Xbox has been making how many different types of controllers for disabled gamers for the last couple of years now, 5, 6, I want to say. We get a trailer it feels like every Game Awards or E3 for a new type of controller that they're putting out.
I just still feel like it's a little bit too coincidental for just like, oh, the one game that has like the biggest advancements in it in accessibility to gamers is now when we're going to offer the award.
I just think it was the first year in which it was worth talking about.
Well, either way, you had them winning Best Direction, which obviously I think that Kotaku article was trending for a little while.
Which one? I didn't see this.
Basically, they said that a game shouldn't win Best Direction if crunch was involved, and people were advocating for Hades to win instead.
That's a good point.
It was a good point. It's like, oh, well,
that's a good point. You obviously, yeah. I do think in the moment of excitement that was the Game Awards, I do think people forgot about that conversation in which Last of Us 2 had some heavy crunch.
Yeah, it could have been kind of overshadowed by all the talk of Cyberpunk's crunch because that kind of dominated a couple months before the game.
Well,
came
even
out.
Now that we have Cyberpunk, I don't think we're talking about the crunch that they're going through enough. I think we're just focused on how kind of broken that is. But we'll get to that later.
That's a whole other topic.
Let's go ahead, Connor. Let's go ahead and run through. A couple of let's go. What am I trying to say? A couple of awards.
Yes.
We'll do a couple of awards real quick. Let's do the top level, like the big ones.
Yeah.
Best performance: Laura Bailey from Last of Us 2 as Abby.
Yeah. She gave a nice speech.
We predicted it was going to be one of the Last of Us girls, and yeah, you're right. She gave a really nice speech. It was really heartfelt and teary, and I was like, oh, good for you. Didn't turn her phone off.
You were annoyed at that by two different people.
There were several people. They got an award, and then you could hear their text notifications going off. Obviously, if someone congratulating them.
Oh yeah, obviously.
But
hey, congrats!
It's like if you're on a live show, turn your fucking phone off. This is audience participation 101, especially when you're showcased in that participation. Yeah. But I think super well deserved.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we kind of knew going into it, it's like, it's going to be her, right? Even Ashley Johnson.
It was going to be her or Ashley, yeah.
But even Ashley Johnson, who did an amazing performance, is like, you're not... It's going to be Laura Bailey, most likely. It's most likely going to be her.
Man. I mean, I wouldn't discredit Ashley.
No, that's what I'm not trying to do. But, I mean, just... Laura Bailey kind of shoot in from what we thought.
She's just a fucking excellent.
Yeah, it's very good.
Audio design, Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty predictable.
Yeah. That was
the audio design in that game is off the chain.
Impeccable. Yeah.
Score, Final Fantasy VII Remake,
which I was surprised about. I was like, nice, cool. I thought they would go with Doom because I heard some talk about that. I think
nostalgia plays into it.
It definitely did. It played into it for me. So
yeah. I will say I've got a bit of an issue. I thought about this later. The best score in music or whatever was announced in the pre-show. But music is like a key part of your show.
I think this has always been a case, though, because I remember...
It wasn't last year.
I remember when Nier won Best Soundtrack, when the year it came out, they said, oh, Nier won Best Soundtrack, okay. And I was like, wait, that's a
But they did it in the show. They didn't do it
They did do it in
the show started.
But it was kind of like it was one of the ones where they went through things. It seems like they don't place much importance on...
Well, last year, Best Performance was done in the pre-show.
What was it?
Yeah. It's weird. What is this... But then we get games like... Or awards like Best Mobile Game or even Best VR/AR. Like,
now, for the Best Mobile Game, I would assume that was because of Call of Duty Mobile and like some of those other popular ones. But that didn't even end up winning.
I would assume because statistically, if you look at the numbers, like something like 70% of quote-unquote gamers are mobile gamers.
You know,
Tavin,
you're not really a big elitist when it comes to video games, but it's very obvious that whenever the topic of mobile games comes up, you're like, it's giving too much attention.
The thing is mobile games and the numbers that they bring in are used to be like, oh, see, everyone's a gamer now. When in fact, that's just not true.
No.
My mom has games on her phone. She is in no way a gamer or not even a mobile gamer. They just download it so that they have something to do when they're on the toilet.
Yeah, my mom does the same thing. She has this crossword puzzle game that she really likes, and it's fun, but it's like when people think of statistics of like mobile gamers being gamers, those are included in
that. And that is the 90% of quote unquote mobile gamers. Like, and it's
most people are not playing Genshin Impact
and I don't
on
mean
their
to
phone.
and I don't mean to gatekeep or anything like that, but like, come on,
not every attention. Too much attention is being put on it.
Some people, dribble a basketball, and others play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like there's a difference there. Our mothers dribble, we play.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
We should get the attention. Us.
It's all and it sounds like I'm gatekeeping, and sure I am, but like. Like, let's not pretend like these are the same things. Like,
yeah, I don't mind them giving attention to it, just not as much as they do.
That's what I'm saying. Undeniably, there are great mobile games.
Yes.
I've played several of them. But with that, there's also just a lot of trash and garbage and time sink games that you use when you're shitting. Like, there are undeniably great mobile experiences, but for the most part, meh.
Yeah. Because
it's just an overcrowded market of garbage.
Now, since we're already on the topic of mobile games, the one that did end up winning was Among Us, which, it was really
Oh, yeah.
It was very, very heartwarming to see them win because their reaction was obviously very genuine.
Yeah, they won mobile and best multiplayer.
Best multiplayer, which I was surprised at that one.
That one shocked me, the best multiplayer. But yeah, they won the two awards they were nominated for. Good for them, bro.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's undoubtedly like Among Us is just such a heavy had a heavy presence in this last half of the year, and it's nice to see such a small team that obviously put out a game and it failed, and then a few years later it fucking popped up, and suddenly everybody's loving it. So good for them. Nice. The lady who was given the commencement speech was like, it was crying and struggling to get the words out. So it's just charming to see the underdogs get a nice little moment. But back to the point of score and music, like especially because you make such a point to say how important music is in video games, to just kind of give it like. Shove it into the wings. It's like, come on, dude. Like, give that its moment, especially when you put such a spotlight on it in your own award show.
Yeah, right.
Moving on. Next, best art direction, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes. Which happy
about that. It was a beautiful game.
Actually, can you check me on that? What did I say?
You voted Ghost. I did. Predicted Hades.
Yes.
I voted Ori, predicted Ghost.
Yeah. So I'm happy it won because it's personally I consider like visually one of my favorite games of all time. Visually,
it's very nice to look at.
Very nice to look at.
And we've talked about this before, but the use of color in that game is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then from there we go best narrative, Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Best direction, Last of Us 2, and game of the year, The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
And then this is just kind of a pattern that you just saw throughout the entire night, where just Last of Us was just cleaning up.
Right.
I was getting sick of seeing Neil Druckmann's face.
he was only in there twice, actually. I remember him.
Was he?
He was
only 2 or 3 times.
He was in Best Director and
Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Did they cut? Oh, that's right. They cut to his co-writer for best narrative.
Yeah, because they kind of knew that okay, he's going to be here for the next 2 awards. Let's not all 4 different awards have Neil Druckmann on screen.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So, I know we differ on these, but you know, I think for the most part, though, you know, you make a good point with that Kotaku article about Crunch. For the most part, I think all of these awards are well deserved.
Now, one thing I needed to...
But there were a lot of, best direction and game of the year. Like, you just couldn't lose. Like, it could have been any of those games, and you would have been like, okay, yeah, makes sense.
Well, maybe not Animal Crossing. I would have been... I know, that's a big game that came out this year.
Yeah, that's
personally for me, I'd be like, oh,
that's a game that the presence of that game was too big not to talk about.
But still, I'd be like, if they won, which they never had a chance, I'd be like, oh well, you know, okay, I guess
that was fun though.
Yeah,
they won something. Was
best
it best family?
game? Oh yeah, easily best family.
Probably best family.
Won by
it was best family.
mile.
I think that's the only thing they won. It's the only thing I have written down.
They didn't have many categories that
it hit.
Multiplayer, but
best multiplayer for some reason. But we talked about that already.
Why. Now, one thing that I just have to mention because I thought it funny during the award is that No Man's Sky won best ongoing game community support, and everyone saw that.
Oh my God.
It was announced. The guy who made the game,
Sean Murray,
the face of the game, was taking a sip of a beer at that time.
He
stumbled to do his acceptance award when
he said, "Oh wait, what? It was me? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here,
thanks.
Yeah, thanks." And then on Twitter later that night, someone made a joke of he just logged in to sit there, see the awards, and get drunk that night. He had no intention of winning.
No, 100%. He was like, "Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I don't know why I won."
He quote tweeted that by just saying nods.
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, there was no I'm gonna hesitate to say there was no snubs. I feel like Hades should have been in the conversation a little more.
Did it not win anything? I was thinking
it won best action.
No, okay,
which is fine.
Yeah.
But you know, Ori just fucking gone. Like, just not in any of these wins, which is a crime. I've been playing more Ori. And that's just a crime.
It just gets better the more you play.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so fun. I love that game.
No art direction.
No art direction. They gave it to Hades, which is... No, they gave it to Ghost. We just talked about this.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know, there were several of these categories where you can't lose. Mm-hmm. Like, you just can't lose. But yeah. Connor, last week, you and I had a little 1v1. A little 1v1. Competition. About awards and nominations and predictions. And
bring it on.
For newcomers to the show, basically we predicted what we would win and then what we would voted for, both equaled points for each category. Mm-hmm. So for example, game of the year, you voted for Final Fantasy, predicted Ghost. I doubled down, voted for Last of Us, and predicted Last of Us. So I got 2 points there. You got no points.
Yes. And so it went for every single category.
It went for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then we also did some predictions of things that will be announced. And we were just wrong across the board. So it's just not even worth talking about. Except that I had a prediction of no less than 3 games no one cares about will be shown.
Which was the safest bet you could have made.
Oh yeah, it was 100%. That was a safe bet.
Now I would have lost even without that. I'm not going to lie, Tavin. In my shower later that night, I was like, Tavin shouldn't have won those points. At least I had original things. You had easy
Connor,
ones.
It doesn't matter. I'll even give up those points because
that's okay. Fine.
Because with those points, I just clowned you out.
Yeah, 27
to 14.
Well, minus those 3 points.
Fine, 24 to 14. Like I've still got a 10-point lead on you. Like whatever, I'm killing you.
You were right. You were right for those categories. As long as those predictions are not right, you don't get the points for those. Yeah, I lost big time.
I still think we should have a conversation about Mass Effect, but whatever. I'll take an L on that.
Well, yeah.
I'll take an L on that one.
We can have that conversation,
anyways, well, while we're on it, let's talk about some of the announcements that happened, Connor.
Yeah.
The
big.
Do you just want to start with the big one that you care about that they started the show with?
Actually, we brought it up already. Might as well do that, even though it was the last thing that was shown. Mass Effect.
Okay, sure. Yeah. We can talk about Mass Effect. They ended the show with Mass Effect, which was a big pop. Internet went crazy. Twitter went crazy. I immediately looked up the trailer on YouTube and dissected it and was going frame by frame, and you were sitting there with me as I was theorizing of what it could mean and stuff. For a long time, I thought the trailer was just like a trailer meant for the Legendary Edition, and just for whatever reason they didn't say that at the end. But as we broke down the trailer, we were seeing Dead Reapers and what was another cue? There's another Q.
Broken
Mass Effect relay, which I think was actually the Citadel.
It was the Citadel.
It looked like the Citadel to me, but people online were saying a broken Mass Effect relay.
It didn't look that at all.
It didn't look like that at all. No. But who knows?
Now, you would thought that it might have been originally a trailer for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition because you had thought that the scene that we were seeing in that game was at the beginning when the trailer first started, that it was when Liara, sorry for those who don't
the end of
play
the trailer,
Effect,
but yeah.
Yeah, well, basically the recovering of Shepard's body.
For Mass Effect 2. But I guess it's not that. I guess this is. I guess really. Let's talk about it. This trailer gives us nothing.
Oh, nothing at all.
It gives us nothing.
It does tell us that Liara. It does tell, like we were speculating a while ago.
It tells us Liara is in the game.
Yeah,
okay,
which kind of shows us that it's not in Andromeda.
And it also seems to take place after 3.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, obviously, yeah. Well, we also did kind of predict that it could have been a prequel. Obviously, it's not going to be a prequel.
Obviously, not that.
So we got some stuff, but nothing concrete.
Yeah.
More just like
to which I don't know how to feel about that. You
think they just? Why were you showing this to us?
Yeah, way too early.
I
too early.
Totally agree.
Because we don't have a date for the remaster collection.
No.
Dragon Age 4 was also at the Game Awards, and it was just a story trailer. And any quote unquote gameplay we've seen of that before was all grayscale, gray boxed like nonsense. That it's like, okay, you're super early in this Dragon Age game.
Which this kind of stuff is. I'm going to bring it up again during our Cyberpunk review. It gets more tiresome the more I see it. It's like, listen, it was
showing stuff too early.
Yeah, like I get it. You told us on N7 Day that there was another Mass Effect game in development.
That's all we needed.
No.
Here, to make such a big statement with this trailer gets people's hopes up in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are online threads everywhere about how this game is coming in the next year to 3 years. We should not be expecting this game for another 5 to 6, probably.
Who knows,
if that. If it even actually comes out.
A lot can happen in those years.
A lot can happen. Well, if that Mass Effect Trilogy remaster comes out and flops, which it won't, if it comes out and flops, then they're going to be like, never mind. But BioWare, what are you doing right now? You're working on your big Anthem update that is going to totally rework the game, allegedly. You've got the new Dragon Age coming, and now you've got this Mass Effect in the background. Why did you put Mass Effect in the front and center? Why didn't you push this Anthem thing that's happening? Why didn't you give us some more insight into what's happening with Dragon Age? Why did you do that? Why didn't you give us a trailer for the remasters? Like,
I'm calling it now. Anthem is dead. It's not coming back. I don't care what they say.
I could have told you that a year ago.
Yeah, I know, but like they're still trying for it. Take anybody that is wasting their time on that game and move them to one of these other projects.
I will say it's very unlike EA to keep it going.
It's not. It's like, it's...
Well, EA is so quick to kill things.
They are.
So where it's like, wow, you're keeping it going?
Any chance it could have gone the route of something like Siege is gone now. Siege, by this point, was already heading towards a place where it could be more sustainable in the future.
Anthem, I mean, you say that, and just for the sake of conversation, even though I do think these two games are entirely different, you say that, but No Man's Sky came back.
That is true.
And
yes.
No Man's Sky controversy was one of the biggest in games.
Yeah, at that time.
I don't even think the Anthem controversy was as big as the No Man's Sky one.
Because no one really was had high expectations for Anthem in comparison to No Man's Sky.
That's probably fair.
Yeah,
that's probably fair. Yeah. So like I don't know. Why did you show us this? Why
it seems like they're out of whack right now?
Like you don't even have a story. I don't believe you.
No.
You don't have an idea of what this game is going to be. You just know you're going to make another one.
Going to take place after Mass Effect 3. That's all they have.
I don't even think they have that.
You don't think they have that? You think they may change it later on?
No, I don't think they have any idea what this game is going to be.
Guys, I know we did that trailer, but can we just make it a prequel?
I think the only thing they know is it's not going to be Andromeda. But even then, maybe not.
Relieved at that, though. If that is, though, I hope that's true, because I'm kind of happy.
I did see a diagram of all the characters who could possibly still be alive in the Andromeda timeline, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. There's like 4 of them.
No.
And then there's like a couple that they're like, maybe? Depends how old they were in 3. Like, they could be alive?
They're not going to be in there if they were doing that, which they're not. So
I don't know. It was cool to see. It got me excited, but then just the moment I sat back and reflected on it, I was like, this is a waste of time. And you're just getting people excited for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't be expecting this game till 2025 at the earliest. And even then, I wouldn't put my money on that.
Yeah. Could turn into like another Cyberpunk situation where trailer's released 8 years before the game actually comes out.
Right.
You never know.
But, I mean, to be fair, I think there is something to be said about it's exciting to have big games on the horizon that are years away, but like you're like, all right, when those come, it's going to be great. You know, I think Last of Us 2 was the last great example of that. I do think Cyberpunk is a fairly decent example of it, except for the fact that it's been delayed all year. I think Cyberpunk crossed over into the territory of too early when it started getting delay after delay after delay after delay. Then it was like, well, then why? Obviously, and then how the game came out, it's obviously like, well, why didn't you just wait? Like, you could have just waited. But that's beside the point, and we'll talk about that later. Since we're already talking about BioWare, let's talk about that Dragon Age trailer.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with a little bit different than Mass Effect, because we've already gotten a trailer for this game before. But again, it just showed us nothing.
I think this was the first trailer that showed us anything, like kind of substantial.
Possibly,
like there's returning characters. There was some narration that probably, if we paid a little more attention to, we could probably decipher maybe what the story is going to be or something. But
just two games that you're pushing another trailer for when you don't need to, because we already did get a trailer a while ago for Dragon Age.
Yeah,
you know, at the very least. Just do that. Just stick with that. And
it's okay to go away and be in the shadows for a little while.
It's fine.
You don't have to be in the conversation all the time. But I think this one was more necessary than the Mass Effect one.
It was, because it's more. It's on the horizon.
Yeah, this is a game that like next 2 to 3 years we're gonna see.
Yeah, I'm guessing too. I'm guessing we'll probably see gameplay at the end of 2021. That's my.
That's probably a good bet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably a good bet. Probably next year's Game Awards.
Yeah,
you know, maybe we'll see. But yeah, Connor, you're a bigger Dragon Age fan than I am.
Yeah.
Did this get like any fan excitement out of you? Or?
I've been excited for it, but I'm not until I see what everything's about.
Sure,
I'll wait and see. Because Inquisition was a great game, but I beat the campaign and I never picked it up again. You know, and it didn't have much replayability. Even though there was content in there, none of that content enticed me.
I struggled to replay it as well. I just couldn't. Maybe I should go back to it now that it's been a few years.
I'd probably love it even more.
But... Yeah. I'd probably really, really enjoy it.
You know, I'm excited for it. I'm not a major Dragon Age fan. I am more excited for Mass Effect games than Dragon Age games.
Really?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
But you know,
because you've played all of them, so
I played all.
I only played Inquisition.
I didn't play Dragon Age 2. I watched my brother play that.
Okay.
Bad game. Not a good game.
No,
not a good game.
So yeah, in terms of me, cool. Mm-hmm. I'll play it when it gets here.
Yeah, you know.
But I'm not chomping at the bit for it.
Generation of hype is not affecting you right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, even this Mass Effect game that is a decade away, I'm more excited for that than I am for this.
Yeah, that says something about. Well, I knew that, but it still says something about
Yeah,
kind of a lot of the attitudes towards it.
Let's go ahead. Let's jump around to some of these fun little trailers. Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark.
Seems like a remake or a reboot or something. This is that game from The Initiative, which is Xbox's new big studio out in Santa Monica. Mm-hmm. That they haven't said this, but the way they keep talking about this new studio they have is this is supposed to be their big Santa Monica Studios or their big Naughty Dog equivalent on the Xbox side. Perfect Dark. I'm not gonna say a niche game, but it's a game with a legacy, and people like it.
For those that have played it,
a lot
of people have.
But it didn't. It's just not super mainstream in the way that a Master Chief is, or
it's kind of like
a Nathan Drake is.
It's like that one game that we keep seeing nothing about, even though they hyped it up a while ago. Beyond Good and Evil. It's kind of like in terms of.
I feel like Perfect Dark has a little more.
It probably does.
It's got some more weight behind it in terms of relevance than Beyond Good and Evil does.
It's just back in the day. I remember seeing those two.
That game's never coming out, by the way.
Dude, it hasn't. Nothing.
That game's not coming out. I'm saying it now. But yeah, it was a cool little trailer. It was neat.
No one expected it.
No one expected it.
No.
So it was fun to see. A lot of people, got excited. Connor, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, we have to do the big one, or what I saw as the big one.
Okay.
The announcement of Sephiroth in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they released the new character, Sephiroth, with
really cool trailer.
They used it with the intro to the World of Light game mode, in which there's that big baddie or whatever that's kicking everybody's ass, and right before all the lights shoot out and kill everybody, it gets cut in half, and then and then all the master hands die.
Yeah.
And then the winged angel comes in, which I like that, like, I like the hype and the like narrative of that. Like, okay, yeah, remember that? That was real tough. You guys did that. Here comes Sephiroth.
Yeah, he's kind of worse than this thing.
Oh,
you know?
my God, it was so good. Like,
it was very well
Final
done.
Fantasy VII, it was really, really fun to see that.
Yeah.
That shot, which is being memed to death now, of Sephiroth stabbing Mario, but then it cuts in and it's like he's just got him by the overall or whatever.
Yeah. That slight homage to, very overt homage to Advent Children, which seems to be a thing that a lot of people are aware of. You know, it
I didn't pick up on
a
that
lot
because I watched that movie once and immediately forgot about it.
Well, it's
and then that's all that movie is.
I like the movie. I like the movie. That's what I'm saying.
Super forgettable movie.
Okay, well, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited for this.
So excited.
Yeah, this is a great pick.
I remember a group chat that I was in was talking about it when it was revealed, and they said what I thought when I saw him. I am going to play this, but this character looks fucking bullshit.
Oh, dude, it looks so overpowered.
Worst. It is going to have the worst hitboxes in
He's
the
got
game.
so much range, dude.
Too much.
Which he should with that weapon. That's a long sword.
Oh, yeah.
But, like,
you can't get around it.
Holy fuck, there's, like, nothing. And he doesn't look, like, slow. He looks fast. Like, what are you going to do? And you know he's going to hit hard.
Yeah, you know he's going to hit hard. He's got a second phase.
I think the one that pushed me over the edge was, like, he has a counter. Why does he have a counter?
The whole thing with Cloud is that he has lots of range as well, and
but he has no counter.
But he has no counter. Yeah, it's kind of balanced in that way. And in place of a counter, he has the super form.
See, I think
Sephiroth has a super form and a counter now.
Yeah, I think Sephiroth, he's got. Oh yeah, he also has that super form where the wing comes out. But I think they should have, instead of doing so many slicing motions and so many slicing attacks, they should have done more stabby.
They should have.
Kind of like
stabby, almost like Marthy. In terms of his whole
yeah.
That would have maybe the only slice move that he has is the up smash, which is what I keep thinking about when I saw
it covers so much space, dude. It might be worse than Link's.
Cloud's even.
I don't think Cloud's up smash is that crazy.
I thought you always the one. I thought you always complain about it when we fight.
Well, I just complain about it because it reaches so far behind him.
Yeah,
but like, I mean, Link's does as well, but Link's makes sense with the movement he's doing, and Sephiroth kind of has that. But Sephiroth's range on that looks like ridiculous.
Yeah. But I'm playing him.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
He sticks into the wall.
Yeah, he does.
That was crazy. I also love that there's a quick moment where they use Zelda as Aerith and he stabs the ground instead of stabbing Zelda.
People did not like that.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny too. No, people didn't like it as in the sense they reminded of that death.
It's dark.
It is.
You go, oh shit!
And it's like
there's another moment they reference. I can't remember now.
It's the fight in Advent Children, I think.
No, there's another one that they do in gameplay that's subtle. Like, if you miss it, it's gone. I forget.
There probably is, yeah.
I think it's a moment where he attacks Snake. Or he kills Snake, and it's supposed to be that moment where, like, that giant snake in FF7 just dies for some reason. And someone says, do you think Sephiroth did this?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Now, did it look like Cloud was getting a new Final Smash?
No.
Super Smash?
That's right. They did the Omni Slash thing. Yeah, he's doing something.
I see that being an update.
Is it? I mean, we did. What is his Final Smash now? Is it not the Omni Slash?
It's literally Ike's. It's.
Do you think it's still because it still could be like Ike's or Greninjas or whatever, but like they just threw an Omni Slash on it?
They could have. You know? Yeah. We'll see.
I want to talk about Crimson Desert real quick.
Yeah, because I remember watching that trailer. Now, what's your actual general opinion of how the game looked?
There's no way it's going to be that good.
Because you were very skeptical. Me and you both were like, while the trailer was going on, we were like, well, this looks cool, but it looks like
it was also a long trailer.
Realistic. It was
of just combat. Like,
but then they showed like riding dragons, and that looked really cool.
It got me back with the riding dragons. Man.
Yeah.
So
honestly, it could be like this is a new era.
Hey, if this is a game that just like completely shits on Assassin's Creed, I'm game. Like, let's go.
Yeah, we'll wait and see how it comes out. It looked fun. The presentation was nice. The game looked
pretty.
Beautiful, very pretty.
Yeah.
But once again, it could always be a case like I thought of this just a second ago. Watch Dogs. How amazing and new that game looked.
And then we got it, and it was like, okay, this is more of what we have, and
yeah.
not even that good of what we have.
No, not even that good. No.
It could be. I'm waiting to see more. I would like a narrative pull, a reason to jump in narratively.
It looked like there was narrative stuff, but they didn't have the voices going on.
So.
Do you think it could have added voices to that and then be like, okay, well, we're going to see.
I'll see.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting. But yeah, it looked cool.
It did.
It looked cool. We'll say that. It looked cool and fun, and I would like to see more.
I would too.
It's a thing where, like, you don't have my money yet, but, you know, you just need to tick a few more boxes, and I'm there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Do you want to touch on? We should talk about Back 4 Blood.
Back 4 Blood, yeah, the Left 4 Dead copy.
Well, yeah, it's the Left 4 Dead guys making it.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, wait, is it?
Yes, it's Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock is the Left 4 Dead guys. They split off, made Evolve, nobody liked it, and now this is what they got.
I didn't know they made Left 4 Dead originally. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Sicko.
They were tired of sitting around doing nothing. Valve, fucking get it together.
It looked like a fun game to play with friends. Just
I'm in, bro.
Hanging around, shooting zombies,
I'm in.
hitting them. Yeah.
I mean, Left 4 Dead is fun. I'm not a big fan of the cartoonish style of Left 4 Dead, and this one is a little more, I'm not going to say grounded, but like...
It's more photorealistic in terms of how it looks.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, their use of like shadows and darkness and stuff, it all makes sense, and the physics of it like make a lot more sense.
Right.
But yeah, I'm into it. Let's do it. Let's, get a squad going, shoot up some zombies, kill some big monsters. I'm in. Let's go.
One other thing I kind of had to touch on was we actually kind of got some more hard gameplay of Hood's Outlaws and Legends.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, and it got a release date of May 10th, 2021 for
wow,
PS4.
I didn't even realize.
PS4 and Xbox One. I knew it was going to be for next gen.
It's got next gen as well.
Yeah, it was going to have next gen, yes, but
everything except Nintendo.
I thought it was only going to be next gen and PC when I first saw this game.
But we're in that stage of like for the next 2 years it has to be on everything because there's too many PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones in the wild.
Yeah, that's true.
To where you're just leaving so much money on the table that it's like, the fuck are you doing?
By this time, I'm hoping you and me will both have PS5s and we can play it on the.
By May, if we don't have PlayStation 5s in May, I'm fucking quitting this podcast.
See, I was thinking, like they said, January was when they were going to bring things back, and that's what I was hoping for. But
they said they're going to have it before the end of the year.
Yeah,
we're getting mighty close to Christmas, Sony.
I never believed that for a second. We're not getting that by the end of the year.
Getting mighty close to Christmas.
No.
Anyways,
okay. It's a game, I know, like you especially were like, this is a game no one cares about, but I had to say it. Dark Tide looks fun.
Yeah,
it looks really
like
cool.
Crap.
It looks really cool. You have the melee comic Vermintide, which has a really nice niche, relatively niche following, and it's got a fun-looking gameplay that looks very responsive. Vermintide is a game that sticks in my mind because the melee combat is very good. It responds very well. It feels good. And it seems like
Vermintide?
Vermintide, yeah. Dude, the combat in that game is so fun. I don't know about all that,
bro.
And then they're going to translate it over to ranged combat. I think it looks very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to bring it up.
You do you. Let me do a final scroll. Let me see if there's anything we missed on that's worth talking about.
Black Ops Season 1 trailer.
Nobody cares. Not here, at least.
Arc 2. Arc 2. That was the
Why was that trailer so long?
That was the weirdest. That was. But first
Why
of all,
is Vin Diesel in it?
First of all, that was a like. Can you agree with me? That was a bad trailer.
It was a terrible.
It was horrible.
It was long. It was boring.
It's got Vin Diesel as the selling point, which that
Weird.
works. That works for people though, right? Like it does.
That was a game that was like. We were shitting on it the whole time that trailer was playing, and then at the end it was revealed that it was Arc, and we were like, all right, well, I guess, fine, you've got relevance. Like,
it's gonna make money now.
Yeah.
Good job. And then they have the animated TV series that, like, honestly kind of look good to me.
Looked okay. Looked okay.
Dinosaurs
fighting. What? It was just a decently choreographed animated fight scene. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I have no hopes for either of these things.
Star-studded cast. Surprisingly, it's got like Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, why? Why you got so many people in here? Out of all the games you could do, if you're going to do that.
Hey man, if it's cool, it's cool. I'm in.
I don't think it's gonna be cool though. Like
Castlevania's cool.
Oh, this wasn't the video game. This was the series.
Yeah, it's the animated series.
Yeah,
it's got nothing to do with the Netflix team, but it's
no.
It could be cool.
Could be. Yeah.
I'll wait and see. Probably never watch it, but
Yeah.
whatever. I'm gonna talk about the Among Us map real quick.
Oh yeah, that
showed off Among Us map.
Airship.
Airship looked cool. The big thing that I haven't seen enough people talk about is after meetings are called, you can pick which room you want to spawn in. It's not all in the same spot.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. So it's
the killer doesn't have to plan.
It leads to less grouping, changes the grouping, because that's a problem right now. Is where like 2 or 3 people will just stick together the whole time, and then it's like, all right, well somebody died, all 3 of us were together, so it has to be, Phil.
Mainly when you realize it's like, oh, it's definitely not this guy. If you trust him, you can stick together, and then you're pretty much fine.
Yeah,
almost a shoo-in for the win.
Overall. Cool announcements. A couple of who cares. And then, just some really cool hype moments.
Did any of these make you jump out of your seat? I know two of them did for me, the Dark Tide and the Sephiroth.
Sephiroth was the only thing that caught me off, and I was like, oh my god!
Well, Mass Effect, I thought you were like...
Mass Effect did a little bit, but it was just because they hit it for so long, because it was a lot of shots of like just space, and we thought it was like Starfield or something.
I thought I was going to get 3 points.
You thought you were going to get 3 points. But it wasn't until like the Reaper sound came in and we passed by
Which, by the way,
Citadel that I was like, oh shit.
He was the only one that heard that. Like, oh, that's the Reaper sound.
You say the only one. It was just you and me in the room.
Yes, you and me. I was like, was it? How do you know? I was like,
it was the Reaper sound,
It was the Reaper sound.
It was the Reaper sound.
Yeah, I knew it. I played the games. I knew it. Played it last week.
But that aside, I just realized I haven't been taking my time codes. Oh well, fuck it. That aside, I think that'll about wrap it up for the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Excited for it to come back next year.
I had a fun time that night.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Game Awards.
I can never watch it by myself.
We should make a drinking game next year. We should get a drinking game.
We should this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why we haven't, but we should. We should do that next year. We'll get a drinking game. Let's get fucked up, watch some Game Awards, celebrate some games.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
So, do you just want to go ahead and jump into the big old topic?
The big thing that I've been gathering my thoughts for a little while now.
Several days.
Yeah.
Several days.
So
Cyberpunk 2077 came out this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty safe to say that this game is a fucking mess.
Yeah, in terms, like, I remember some funny thing that happened, like 2 days before it came out, the review embargo was lifted. Mm-hmm. And you saw 90s, you saw 100s, you saw extremely high reviews. And PC Gamer gave it a 78, saying the content in the game itself is
GameSpot also gave it a 7.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Well, I saw the PC Gamer being the ones that were just shit on online because they gave it a 78.
Oh, yeah, the girl who reviewed GameSpot, or the girl who reviewed for GameSpot was getting, like, major harassment and shit because it was 7. It was a few days early, nobody had played it yet.
Didn't she not play the game, though, at all? I remember one reviewer got shit on for that reason, because they didn't play the game, and they said it was just okay, but they just, like, saw it being
I don't know, I didn't read her review, but from what I gathered is she played it, but, like, she didn't feel compelled to do the side stuff.
Okay.
Which, I think that's a valid critique.
Yeah, I'll say it later, I haven't felt compelled to do the side stuff so far.
I've started to. Mm-hmm. So, let's go ahead, reset. You're, how many hours in are you?
I'm clocking in at about 11 hours now.
I'm somewhere around there. I'm probably in that 8 to 10 range.
Uh-huh.
And I think by far, without even a little bit of competition, this is one of the buggiest, most broken games I've played in a long time.
Very
easily the most this year.
I would say it's definitely the most buggiest game I played in a while.
Oh, we should also say, what are you playing on?
I'm playing it on PS4, as you are.
A launch PS4?
Yeah, because
okay.
I mean,
I'm playing on PS4 Pro.
Yeah, because my PC couldn't handle it, and there's some naughty stuff in there that I don't want to play in the living room.
In the living room.
Yeah, there's my dick.
Oh, funny enough, I'm playing in the living room.
Oh, so, well, yours is a different, like
it's a different environment. Yeah.
But I wouldn't. There was one big problem that I had on the day of I played the game, which was the game crashed 3 times. It just said, app stopped working. Sorry. And
mine didn't crash the first time I played. Mm-hmm. It did every day I've played since.
Really?
Yesterday, I think I was talking to you about it. I played for probably about 2 hours, and it crashed 3 times.
Yeah, see, I crashed 3 times during one of my play sessions as well, and I played for like 6 hours yesterday. Like, I played most of my Cyberpunk yesterday.
Yeah.
And it crashed once, and that was after an update had been
done.
Once
for 6 hours, not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad at all. I was surprised, and that, like, killed it for me that day. I was like, okay, I've been playing for 6 hours. Game crashed. Guess I'm done.
Yeah.
So the game is glitchy. It's buggy. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's broken because I haven't encountered things that make me say I can't play this right now. So many things are going wrong that I cannot play it. But it's nothing. It is for me. It is borderline unplayable. Yeah.
I can still, and I can brute force my way through it if I want to, but I'm having, all these issues of textures aren't loading in, so I don't know what the environment looks like.
No.
Everything is just gray, blurry mess. All the NPCs look like late PS1, early PS2 NPCs for the first 15 seconds that they're on screen.
Yeah. Which I've seen that a lot online as well.
And even when they do pop in, the detail isn't even that high because we're playing on the console version. I'm having instances where conversations get paused in the middle every few minutes, where it takes 5 seconds for someone to respond to something that was just said, and it's not like a natural pause. It's clearly like the game is trying to load the next voice line and get the next animations going.
I've seen varying degrees of that same problem with a lot of people. Like, now I really have to stress I have had not a lot of those issues. Like,
I could keep going.
Yeah, see, that's the worst part about it, because so many people are having to experience this after waiting for it for so long and being hyped up.
My motorcycle drove off without me.
Did it?
Yeah, it left, and I had to chase it down. And like it eventually, like, and of course it was beating my ass because it's a motorcycle and I'm on foot. So eventually, I just had to like, all right, fuck it, I guess I'll fast travel and then call it again. And then I called it, and it pulled up and then disappeared. And then I called it again, and it pulled up, and then I could ride it.
It's just gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm having a lot of those issues. The last car I had, for no reason, flipped over and got set on fire. It didn't blow up, but it was set on fire.
Set on fire? Really?
Yeah.
They could do that?
I was like, what the fuck? Why? Why did you do this?
Why did I?
Every time I get in a car, I try to drive in third. Well, for cars, I try to drive in third person because it's really disorienting driving in first person in a car. You know, the motorcycle I can handle first person.
Oh, it's fine.
But in the car, I can't.
No.
So they have an option where you can cut to third and have the camera behind you like GTA style. That breaks driving for me all the time.
So I watched a little bit of my friend Josh play it.
Yeah.
I had that same problem, and he's playing on PC
Yeah.
where there's less issues like that, and he was just like tapping it for 10 seconds, like it won't work after a while. Oh, it's there.
Well, it works, but it also saves all of your inputs. So everything is just delayed. So I'll get in the car. Oh, I'm still in first person. Oh, that must be the default. Not a big deal. And I'll click the button to switch it to third. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Click it again. Nothing happens. Click it a third time. Nothing happens. Fuck it, man. Fine. I'll just put let's just get to our destination. Yeah. Halfway through the destination, all three of those inputs will be put in at once.
Jesus, really?
And will cause the game to stutter and break.
That's even more infuriating.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so infuriating. But it turns out default is not first person. It saves whatever mode you last used.
Yes, it does.
So there were times where I jump on my motorcycle and I'm in first person. I'm like, all right, but I'm on my motorcycle. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I start, like a couple of seconds after I take off, then it cuts to third, and then I'm disoriented and I crash into a wall and I hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fucking Christ, man! Like this feels like some simple shit. Like, why?
For a game that's been announced in 2013 and it just came out now.
Like why? And I understand, saying it was announced in 2013. I don't think that's fair. They were working on Witcher 3 until 2015, and then the expansions after that with, Cyberpunk in the background.
It's become more of a problem when they started showing things when they shouldn't have shown things. Because all that did was generate hype and make people want to have it as early as they could.
This game should not have come out this year.
No, it should not have.
It should not have come out. What they should have done is they should have not crunched their team and just waited until late next year. Yeah. Or maybe the year after that if necessary. Like, I would much rather have that experience. I'm almost to the point where I'm like, fuck, man, should I just put the fucking game down and come back in a few weeks?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I like I said, I've had glitchy problems, but none of them game breaking. As much as you've had, like, God, you sound like you have a horrible time.
And this isn't even it, bro. Like, I've had street vendors, where they're like selling hot dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
The cart won't spawn, but all of the things on the cart will. Mm-hmm. So those will be floating, and I'll go up and I'll touch like a pan or something. Like I touched a pan, and then the pan dropped and fell because I interacted with it, and then the system was like, oh, he touched it. There's nothing below it, so he knocked it off.
Yeah.
And it fell, and then the cart spawned on top of the pan.
I kind of have a similar problem where I'll open doors, and I'll be like, okay, it's not open. It's not open. What's going on? And I'm pressing it, and it's not opening. And then I realized I just walked forward, and I walked through the door. Like, it opened at some point, and I just didn't know. I was like, oh. I guess it just registered that it opened.
I've pressed it again, and then it really quickly opened and then shut again in my face.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, all right, fine.
There's some input problems are your biggest issue.
It's ridiculous, bro.
Well, that leads into what I was going to say.
Oh,
is that...
also, I was in the middle of a firefight with like 6 dudes, and then they just out of nowhere disappeared.
Really?
Like the game act like it wasn't like, oh, you killed them all. It wasn't like, oh, you escaped from them. It was like it never happened.
They were there in the room still, or they just
they were just gone.
Because I've had
this was a random event. It was a random event.
Yeah, you just shoot people, right? You just get into a combat with someone.
Yeah. They were harassing a cop or whatever.
I had a problem where they would disappear. They would disappear from the screen. They wouldn't show up on the minimap, but they'd still be talking. So I actually still don't know if I killed them and they still register as being there, or if they actually just I didn't touch them at all and they just disappeared, but we're still in the game in terms of audio. I'm
also having an issue whenever the dialogue selection screen pops up. It won't let me scroll through the options.
Really?
Like, it'll just stay at the top.
Jesus. I was going to say before, I am going to put down this game until either it comes out with more updates to fix the problems that are currently going on, or until I get a PS5, where I've heard these problems aren't as
they're
bad.
They're lesser, but they're still more extreme than the PC version. The PC version is obviously so much more optimized.
Yes.
I'm almost to the point where I'm even considering calling Sony and like trying to get a refund and shit. But I don't want to deal with I'm going to be put on hold for 2 hours and all that, and all that for what? Like, I just get the fucking like game on PC, and then it'll still have issues.
Yeah.
But just not as game breaking.
You see, my logic is that I'm going to play this eventually when it gets better, and I've already bought the game.
Yeah.
So it's like,
might
as well.
And I'm with you on that. Except, I'm only thinking about putting it down because when the game does work, god damn, is it fucking good?
It's very fun. Yeah.
Oh my god. Go ahead.
It's as you said. It's fun. It's very, very fun. I love the characters so far. It's fun interacting with them. I haven't found anyone that I found annoying. They're well voice acted. Surprisingly, the main character is. I didn't think he would be. You know, I know you mentioned to me
the female version is good too.
She is very good too.
I think there's actually multiple versions depending on which background you choose.
That makes a ton of sense because they talk. You know, a corpo isn't going to talk like he's the V that I'm playing right now.
So which backstory did you choose?
I chose the Nomad one.
The Nomad. I chose Street Kid. There's three. That's the Nomad, Street Kid, and the Corpo.
Yeah.
And from everything I can tell, these are all vastly different choices. At least in the beginning, there is an inciting incident that like then puts everybody on the same path, but like how you start, wildly different, almost like Dragon Age Origins like level of difference.
Yeah, it does give you more dialogue options at that point, which you know.
You having a lot of like.
I
can only say this because I'm a Nomad option.
Yeah, I like it. I
Kid.
personally like it, but I can see people just being like, "This is just the illusion of choice once again, or the illusion of me." Like this is me developing my character, but it doesn't mean anything past what I think of it. You know, so people who don't feel more into the game.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm already seeing the seeds of choices being made that will affect things later.
Oh, with path choices.
Yeah,
I haven't seen those yet. It's been just dialogue options for me so far. Like ones that help develop who I think my character is based on the choices I make, but nothing beyond that.
There was a moment where I had to get information out of a character. Okay. And how I got that information out of said character, I can see, okay, clearly this affects not only my relationship with this character I'm talking to, but it's going to change, it's clearly going to change things of like when I get there.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about just conversations with people in general, or related to your background?
Oh, conversations in general. The background's kind of set in stone. It kind of has to be.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
No, I like there's ones like Judy is a character I really like so far.
Judy's cool.
She likes me, and she was iffy about me before, but I've been on her side and been nice to her because I like her, and she's responsive to me. And I feel that I can definitely see that if I did things differently, such as disregard her, it would be going differently. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me want to keep playing the game. In spite of all those glitches,
to see how these relationships and stuff will. I think I said to somebody, this is like a great mix between like GTA 5 and like a Fallout game.
Yeah.
I think this is undoubtedly like if you're gonna put this game in that conversation, if you put all the technical difficulties aside, I think this is the best Bethesda game we've gotten since Fallout 3 at least, and probably even better than that.
Oh, New Vegas is a thing, so you know.
Anyways. And when it works, goddamn, does it fucking work?
Yeah.
And when you eventually get to what the main plot is, God, do I want to see how that plays out?
Now, I want to know your opinion on combat because I had a discussion with my friend Jordan, and he says that he hasn't played the game. His brother Josh has, and his Josh doesn't seem to really think all that much of the combat system. Doesn't really like it, and he says it doesn't feel like it's very impactful. I've played around with it enough to know that. Well, it's not the best combat system. It works, you know, and despite the fact that this was such an anticipated game, I don't think I ever, or many other people ever thought that the gameplay, the gunplay, and the swordplay is what's going to draw people in. But besides that point, I think it works well. I enjoy the way the guns shoot. Characters can feel a bit bullet spongy at times.
Yeah.
It really depends, I think on the character you're fighting. But for the most part, I've had fun with just slicing people up with samurai swords.
I mean, I'll say the gunplay I think is not really good, but I think it's good.
I think it's good too.
I think it's super solid.
No, not impactful on gunplay.
Yeah, but
games.
It feels good to shoot the guns.
I honestly, I consider.
And I do. I actually disagree with you. I feel the impact of when I'm hitting my target.
No, I do too. That was what my friend was saying.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I feel like it's not like super, like, I don't feel like I'm a mega badass when I'm shooting people like that, but,
I do think, however,
works.
the melee combat leaves something to be desired.
You don't like the melee combat?
It teases depth, but it's really just not. It's a little more deeper than like a Bethesda game's melee, where you just kind of feel like you're just kind of like hitting them with a blunt object all the time. But there are a few things you can do to like vary it up, and I appreciate that. But like, could have gone a little deeper. Could have done a little more.
They even still could have done deeper things with the gunplay itself. I just don't think either that or the sword play or the melee combat really isn't offensive in any way.
You should probably explore some different weapon types before you say that.
What, like what, for example?
There's like guns that ricochet bullets. There's energy weapons. There's like smart bullets and stuff, or smart tracking bullets, whatever they are. You know?
And those are unique, but I never really felt like they were all that.
Some like environmental weapons.
Environmental weapons.
Yeah,
huh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're just not deep enough. You haven't explored the weapons enough.
Well, even so, the base game, the base gunplay isn't really all that inspired.
Sure, it's fine. Mm-hmm. It works.
It works. That's what I think about the combat system in general. Thankfully, that's not why I'm gonna. Whenever I do go back to the game, it's not gonna be because of the combat. Because eventually, I could see that being also kind of just repetitive after a while. Like, okay, I've gotten used to the guns and I've gotten used to the swords.
Well, I think the combat in tandem with the hacking. Have you been doing enough hacking?
I've started to, because I didn't want to at first, because it seemed to, it seemed to break.
It seemed
up
like it would
gameplay.
get in the way.
It did.
But as I continue to play with it, I actually realized, oh wait, this is actually a key component to combat, and it works actually pretty damn well.
Now, I do know that when it comes to the AI in combat, you can definitely cheese them. I was led to do some certain tactics, like holding down the punch button, and it works. Like, I fought a guy with a gun with just fists, and I just did that move over and again. And he got me a couple of times, but I know for a fact that if I was fighting him fist to fist, he would never hit me anytime. Yeah, because it just stuns them, and you just get them locked into this. But I never found that any of the enemies that I was facing, I would cheese just as naturally going through the game. Like, I would actively have to find ways to cheese them and then take advantage of that, which could be a problem for some people who, if they find ways to cheese people, they just kind of get too hooked on that way to deal with enemies. But I never really had that much of an issue with cheesing. But, AI could be... What do you think of the AI? I was... During combat,
breaks all the time with everything else.
And I wonder if that's connected to the fact that the game itself is glitchy, or if the fact that the AI is just inherently not good.
It feels like it, because when it works fine enough for me. Enough to like sell what they're trying to do. Problem is half the time doesn't work.
No.
So I don't know. Overall, I'm simultaneously energized and impressed and disappointed and frustrated. So like,
it's gotten I hesitate to say review bombed, because it could break for different people. But it's got a 2.5 on user
scores. Just throw them all in the trash. Throw them out. They're never useful.
But the other problem is neither were the critic reviews all that much either, because people aren't going to have access to PS5.
I think if this game fucking worked, it would deserve.
Oh, it would.
It would deserve the scores it has.
Totally.
The problem is it doesn't fucking work.
Doesn't work as it should, and people don't have access to play the game in its most optimal form.
Yeah.
There's just one...
its most optimal form is on PC.
PC with even like a
good
PC.
Have you seen some of this footage and screenshots that are coming from people on PC?
Well, that's what I was going to
They're
bring
playing
up.
like a different fucking game.
They are. One, this YouTuber that I follow on Twitter was actually saying she plays on like a really nice computer, and she's loving the game. And she's like, well, all my friends, they don't really think that highly of it. And it seems it's really connected to the fact that they just don't have the machinery to play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Incredible. There's of course always going to be differences in games, but I think this is the first time in a long time that I can recall where it's just such a clear difference. Like, lighting is different, details and textures are different, effects are different. Like, everything is just different.
Yeah. There's a scene that's pretty early on in the game with this guy Dexter Deshawn, like a gangster that you meet with him in his car.
Yeah, he's like sort of like a mid-level mob boss that you're dealing with.
Yeah, there was a screen-by-screen comparison of the PS5 version of the game, and the PC version.
Yeah,
and the PS5
they look like they were from two entirely different generations.
It does, yes, it really does. The PS5 version wasn't even the PS4 version, which doesn't even look as good as
Well, the next-gen version of these games aren't out yet. So that's just the PS4 version.
Was it the PS4?
Yeah, that's just the PS4 running on a PS5.
Oh, okay. But
yeah.
Even so, it wasn't like the difference there was
the next-gen version isn't out yet for some reason.
I thought it was.
No.
Huh.
Which is why I don't understand why people are like, oh, this game should have just been for next gen. Like, this game was built for for the last gen or the current gen, however you want to talk about it right now.
You see, I get that people are complaining that it should have been on PS5 only, but when you announced this game back in 2013, and way before PS5 was ever a topic, or the Xbox Series X, and then you show gameplay before either of those things were revealed either, you're pretty much setting yourself up for people to be ready to play it on PS4.
On the current systems that they have. I mean, this is the same situation that games like Final Fantasy 15 / Versus 13, and what was that game called? The Team Ico game. The one with the big dog.
Oh, Last Guardian?
Last Guardian.
Yeah.
Last Guardian were in the same things, where those games were supposed to be PlayStation 3 games. And Kingdom Hearts 3 were supposed to be PlayStation 3 games, and then they ended up on this generation. But they ended up kind of deep into this generation. We were 3-4 years in. 5 years in, even. And, so it made sense to be on those consoles. Yeah. But now... you're coming out at the turn of a generation, so you should be on everything. And you should be built for the generation that the most of the populace has.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense, especially with what my understanding of development is, which is very little. To upscale to new hardware would be a fucking huge task. So most of your work would have been done on current-gen systems anyway, which is probably why we have that version of the game now, and not PS5 and Xbox Series X versions.
So, do you think that this could have been a lot better if, by the time even the PS4 version came out and the PC version, you should have had everything also out on the PS5? Because that way, everything would be optimized at a better level than it is now. Or even if...
I don't understand your question.
Basically, what I'm saying is that, do you think they should have waited until the PS5 version came out to also release the PS4 version to come out?
They should have fucking waited, period. It doesn't matter what... if the PS5 and Series X didn't exist at all, they should have waited.
In general.
Because this game is a mess. And we had a talk back and forth on this podcast several times about crunch with CD Projekt Red, and if it was worth it, and if their team was... being managed well enough, and it's very clear to me with the product that we've been giving that it's not. That they're panicking and they're working crazy hours for nothing because they're obviously putting out a good game, but this game is just marred with so many flaws that it's hard to give it the props that we want to give it. I
guess saying nothing is a little bit harsh, but now that the game is out and you've seen such what's the word? Well, blowback from it.
Yeah,
it's almost like.
The internet is always hyperbolic. The internet is always an exaggeration of what the real problem is.
It doesn't. Well, everyone's complaining though because it is a broken game.
Oh, it's broken.
Released. So it's still. That's like I said. It being all this work being for nothing seems a bit too much. They overworked themselves when they shouldn't have had any room to do so.
Yeah.
If this is what we're getting as.
The simple fact is that this game did not have to come out this year.
It didn't.
It didn't. You could have waited. We would have waited. Everyone would have been fine. You didn't need to give a release date, an initial release date, nothing. Can you imagine what state would this game have been if it came out in April like it was supposed to?
Oh my God, it would have been horrible.
I'm saying, what? How in your mind do you justify? What was your roadmap? How did you... You should have known. If anybody knows, the developers know. But, and you did the little, money flash, the rubbing your fingers together for money hand sign. But, nothing from CD Projekt Red, in their behavior or in the past has shown me to say that they're a greedy company. And even still, with how they're treating this game now, it still doesn't seem greedy. But it's just fuck, dude, this didn't need to happen. This is your own fault. You're digging your own, not digging your own grave, because this is far from, this is just a dent.
Yeah. A dent in CD Projekt Red's history.
Yeah, it's just a moment to talk about. But, when this game works in 2 weeks to 2 months, when this game finally gets patched to the point it works, it's going to be heralded as one of the greatest games of all time.
Until then, though, all we have is what we thought initially.
Yeah.
It's probably going to go the route. I always bring this up. It's going to go the route of Siege. Comes out, people had problems. Not as bad. Like Siege wasn't this bad when it came out.
Yeah.
But people are going to look back on it and say that was a stupid, dumbass thing they did. But I'm enjoying it now.
Yeah.
I think this is also we constantly did stories about how Cyberpunk was really good from a PR standpoint in a variety of different ways. I've kind of forgotten a lot of them. All that kind of just seems irrelevant now that this is what the end result is. It's kind of a way to think of, PR.
I again do not understand what you just said.
I just think it's an interesting way to look at PR in video games and how even if you can have the best PR, if the game product itself isn't good, all that stuff is irrelevant.
Yeah, they dumped a bunch of money into marketing and it was good marketing. Like
but it's
using
all
Keanu Reeves and all these constant trailers that we're seeing. We're all well made and all that, and it you were teed up to have the greatest launch ever.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is like, bro, we were scheduled to play at 7:30 and you showed up at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you here?
And another bullshit thing I have to really bring up is that I think it was Jason Schreier who did a story on it. You've probably seen it, knowing how into the stuff that you are. They were going to give bonuses to their workers based off the review scores of what critics were going to give it. And now I don't
think that's an uncommon practice.
It's incredibly stupid, though.
It's
regardless if it's common or uncommon. Thankfully, they rescinded that because of
Well, yeah, the executives and management took onus and said, "Hey, like, if we get dinged for technical issues and we don't reach that threshold for y'all's bonuses, it's not your fault. Like we put a deadline and we screwed you."
Which also leads me to think: are they doing it to make themselves look good, or are they actually like, we fucked up? This is us.
I think it's genuine. It feels genuine because why even bring it up then?
There was, as far as I know, there was no story beforehand of this leaking at all. So yeah.
And that knowledge, I feel like I knew that prior to that story happening. Mm-hmm. That there's a bonus tied into quality.
Mm-hmm.
I can see if I were a fly on the wall, I could see how that conversation would take place and how it would make sense. The problem is that it's just not enough. They didn't step back and look at it bigger picture like they should have.
They kind of thought, oh, it's
with that policy,
it's going to be received well. That was kind of their
thought. So yeah, I'm just. Man, it's so frustrating because I really want to love this game. I want to love it so much, but it's just...
I know you've been considering thinking about it, as you said. I really think, especially from what I've seen you experiencing, like the stuff that I've experienced with this game is like, I'd hesitate to even say half as bad as what you've been dealing with.
Oh yeah, if I could cut 50% of my issues out, I would fucking love it. It'd be enough.
Well, in that case, I think you should just wait.
I got to put some more time into Ori. I loaded up Ori last night, and I was like, "That was a fun game," and it works.
Yeah, I started Hades. I started Ghost of Tsushima again because I never beat that, and I want to do that in advance before the year ends. I have other things.
I tried going back to Ghost, but my time with Assassin's Creed kind of fucked up my brain, and all my controls are fucked.
Well, there you go. You also have Assassin's Creed.
That would have been fixed, Sucker Punch, if you put a fucking way for me to change controls. Ugh. Anyways, Connor, any more thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077?
Not really. Now, just to give it a numerical point, what would you give it as its current state right now?
6.
I was saying 8 earlier, but now that profits are coming out, I'm going to say 7.
Yeah. I think if I didn't have so many technical issues, it'd be a high 8, low 9.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm having so many issues to where it's just like, dude, you fucking Jesus Christ! Like, you're lucky your game is as good as it is. In this state, because if it wasn't, like, this game plays worse than Mass Effect Andromeda does. Like, Andromeda had less issues than what I'm dealing with here.
It did. Andromeda had facial issues.
The difference is that Andromeda was just an average game at best, and this is a great game.
Marred by
huge technical flaws. But these flaws are so huge that, like, it should be, like, I saw, one tweet that said, y'all need to treat this game with the same energy y'all treated Andromeda. Obviously, you liked Andromeda. Cool for you, whoever tweeted that. But, like, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, we
shit together, yeah.
Some of us are treating this game like it's still great, and bro, like, this is unacceptable.
There's too many issues just treated as the amazing game it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no amount of customization for what you can do for your character.
Yeah, and role-playing
depth of
and
world,
stuff.
Role-playing. It's irrelevant if you can't play the game optimally. It just doesn't matter.
And it hurts because I desperately want to love this game.
I want to keep playing it.
I do too.
I know
I'm itching for it right now. I want to do it right now. But...
So do I. I got at a good part where there's, some story beats I want to see, relationships I want to develop because the characters are good. But I'm just like, well, if I'm going to be disoriented while I'm playing the game.
Have you gotten to Keanu Reeves?
Oh yeah, I've gotten to him. He's interesting too. I want to see what happens with him. Yeah,
it's cool.
Cool.
He's a little I feel like vocally he's a little one note sometimes, but that might just be Keanu being Keanu.
It's Keanu being
Keanu is kind of always one note anyway. So,
but I find that charming for this character.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I find it charming in moments. But interesting twist. I wasn't expecting that.
Of him being
no spoilers, but no like spoilers. The direction his character was taken, and excuse me, the way it's continued to develop, especially with V. Super interesting. Wasn't expecting any of this.
Neither was I.
Really cool. And there's just a lot about the game that's really, really cool. So I like the level of, I like the different augmentations you can do. I currently haven't been able to afford any of it, so I can't really explore any of it.
Yeah, I had to pay off the debt, and all my money went away into that.
Oh, dude, I haven't even been able to pay off the debt yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I made up to like $36,000.
How the fuck did you get that high so quick?
Well, I got started off because I found... First of all, junk. There's some junk out there that's like 750, right? And it just builds up over time.
Holy shit!
I pick up like every.
I mean, I sold junk probably at like hour 3.
It's not. I should take that back because only certain pieces of junk really are worth a lot. The big thing is you keep picking up weapons constantly.
Oh yeah. No, I've sold a lot of weapons. Yeah, I got. I don't know, probably $7-8 grand off of that.
Technical skills also get you into locked rooms that always seem to have like $3 grand just lying around.
I've seen a lot of locked rooms.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm
just
stuff. Not paying attention.
It's obviously there's a lot of back alleys in the game, and there's stuff back there. That's where you got to go for that. I
desperately want to keep exploring this world, and I want to see more. But
yeah, I'm pumping the brakes, a tad bit.
I think I might as well. Yeah, I think I might as well, and I probably won't come back to it until after Christmas.
Yeah, neither would I.
Yeah, And I feel bad because you got to know CD Projekt is still crunching to like get this game playable.
I know.
And that's got to suck so hard.
It's not one of those developments where they say, hands off, done.
Yeah.
Now let's take a step back and just relax.
This game did not need to come out.
And then multiplayer too? Like there's.
Oh, I'm sure that's nowhere near. We're probably not seeing that for a year.
Didn't they say that they were going to announce that like when Cyberpunk? They were going to give more details when Cyberpunk was released
for their DLC plans.
DLC plans. Or obviously, this is.
I
that
it's clear Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a platform in which we can play for probably the next 3 years plus. Depending if their multiplayer is successful or not.
They'll add on to it. I'm assuming.
Do you want to play multiplayer in this world though?
They can do some differences to the gameplay. I don't know what exactly.
If I wouldn't mind a co-op experience, like almost like a Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode, kind of, maybe, sort of. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah,
all in due time, if that multiplayer even happens.
We'll see.
But anyways, Connor, sometimes it's just good to take a deep breath. You ever just stop and take a deep breath?
It is a nice thing.
It's nice. It's real nice.
Some people do it all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Connor, that about wraps it up for episode 21 of the Two Penny Gamescast.
Christ, 21.
21, baby!
That's not good.
We can drink now. Because it's 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the joke. I didn't make the we're legal now joke at 18, but
Oh,
we're 21.
We are legal.
We are legal.
Yeah.
We're legal and
Now think about this. We have spent a good 28 hours filming or recording the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. That's less than a 1 week full-time job. I haven't done it that much. I feel like the time, like you put more time into it than I have because we, you edit and stuff.
Yeah, sure, but it's only another hour, maybe 2 hours of work.
Even so, yeah.
If that even, right now I'm at a point where I can probably get it all done in 30 minutes.
Well, you may be up at that 40-hour mark then.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways, so this has been Two Penny Gamescast, episode 21. Catch us every Monday, 8 a.m. Spotify. SoundCloud and YouTube. We're working on the Spotifys and the Apples and the Googles.
Mm-hmm.
I actually am working on it. I have the link underneath my thing, so I'll be doing that probably later tonight. But until next week, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bells, hit the the comments, get all that stuff. I really need to work on this outro. This outro is rough.
Well, always remember, buy Skyrim on Xbox Game Pass.
Why the fuck? You can't buy a game on Game Pass, Connor. That's the whole point of Game Pass.
Get Game Pass for Skyrim. One or the other.
Until next week, say bye to the people, Connor.
See ya.